I think it's time for another Clean My Mix, don't you? I think it's time. I haven't done one of these in a long time, so I want to do this. Today we're taking a look at a song by Ron Ward and Brian Bigler. Hey, what's up, guys? These are two administrators and very active members of a page on Facebook called Garageband Users. If you are into Garageband like me and like everybody else watching this channel, you should check out the Garageband Users page on Facebook, and also especially if you're an iOS user, because there's lots of good tips and stuff for people over there. Anyway, they put out a song this last week, I believe, and I listened to it, and I was like, hey, that's a super cool song, really fun, has a nice vibe to it. But when I listened to it, I was like, that mix sounds good. I personally hear room for improvement. Now, you guys did a great job, Brian and Ron. I don't want you to think like, oh, that's bad or anything. It's a totally good mix, and it sounds good, and people clearly liked it. I just thought it might be fun for me to show you what I would do to it, because I know you guys are fans of what I do on Music Monday. This intro's too long. Let's get to it now. Inside you can be like me. First thing, you guys, that I see here. So here's this project. There's a couple of house cleaning things that I want to mention to you, okay? So one thing, and this is for everybody out there who ever has problems with GarageBand running slowly. Look right here. You have the monitor on here. You got monitors on here. You got 3 more down here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 10 monitors running all at the same time. It's an easy, common mistake. But remember, this is one of the main things that slows down GarageBand, okay? So I'm just going to turn these off. Because, the computer can only handle so much. So we're going to turn these off, okay? House cleaning 1. Make sure if you're recording, just have the 1-track monitoring, and you're good. Now, the other piece of house cleaning that I see here is all of these extra tracks, right? So you guys were, making sure you're getting your parts right. I do the same exact thing. However, there are a bunch of them, right? I mean, up here, there's 86 takes on the bass. 82 up here, 73 here, right? So if you have already decided that you don't want those previous bad takes, get rid of them, okay? So let me show you how to do that really easily, okay? So I'm just going to hit a select all. I'm going to grab all of these. I'm going to come up here, and I'm just going to say delete unused takes. Boom. That gets rid of all of them. So you guys, when you sent this file to me, it was actually like 1.5 gigabytes. And I was like, wow, how big is this project? And then I looked at it and I was like, there's a ton of extra tracks. So that's a nice little piece of house cleaning for anybody out there. You want GarageBand to run as efficiently as possible. So doing things like this really free up a lot of RAM and CPU space for your computer to, run smoothly. All right. So now this is looking pretty good. We don't have any extraneous tracks, and all the monitors are off. So let's quickly take a listen. And I'm doing this totally on the fly. I'm just going to let it run. I did take a look at it last night. And so anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do today, but I did not try to mix this previously. I'm going to do this all on camera just for the fun of it, okay? So let's just listen for a second.
Come here, baby. You know how you're always trying to drive me crazy with those evil tricks of yours? Well, I'm about to get some evil tricks of my own. She
Okay, so that gives you a sense of what the song sounds like. Super fun. I really like the vibe of this song. And I love that sort of like, I don't want to peg it as like an 80s song, but I do just love that like raw, it's a little bit 80s-ish. I do it all the time. 80s rock is something I totally love, you guys, so cool song. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of things here that I see right out of the gate. So I assume, Brian, you're playing the guitar, buddy. Let's look at these tracks, because I see these as a little bit low on the signal strength. Now, I did last night sit here and examine these tracks pretty carefully, because what you're looking at is a signal to noise ratio that is a little bit less than ideal, right? I've talked about this a few times on my channel, but just wanted to hit it because I saw it here. So these numbers on the side, we're going to do this one more time. These are percentages, okay? So you want your signals living between 25 and 50%. If it peaks out a little bit over and hits 75 once in a while, that's fine, okay? But in general, somewhere around 50% being the maximum. And when I record things in general, they live between 25 and 50. That is my personal preference as far as headroom is concerned. You're going to find the effects and the plugins on the guitar amp Sims will work better. You'll get more drive out of the pedals and stuff because you are sending it more signal that has been recorded, okay? So it's not bad. It's not terrible. It's totally usable. One thing I could suggest to make up for this lack of gain in that section, we can simply go down here and we're going to open up the gain plugin. And I'm just going to bump this up, like, let's just say 2 dB, okay? Actually, let's just type that in. 2. That's 20. 2.3. No, 2. Okay, there we go. So 2 dB on this one single guitar. If I go down the track here, also let's look what's going on with the amps. Okay. Oh, good. Hey, Brian did go in and switch these up. I like that. I always like seeing that. Good job, Brian. Oh, but it's the same exact thing here. Okay, so I might have changed a couple of things. Anyway, we're going to keep going down. I just need to do a little bit of investigating here. Okay. This is the same. Yeah, these are all the same. No microphone changes. No microphone move changes. Oh, there's a microphone move and change in microphone. Okay, so Brian, as I go down these, let me just tell you, I would personally, I can tell that you've gone in and dialed up an amp that looks good, and I'm sure it sounds good. Let's solo it. Okay, cool. So that's what that one sounds like. If we come down here to the second one, where we also need to turn on that gain plugin and hit it with 2 dB worth of stuff, signal, let's do that. We're just going to bump that up a tiny bit right at the top of the chain. Okay. So, all right, so now that is on. Let us look at these amplifiers one by one. So this is the top guitar, and this is the bottom guitar, and these are panned left and right at negative and plus 15 degrees. Okay, so let's choose one of these and switch it up a little bit, okay? That's going to give you a little bit more depth and a little bit more sonic, space in the stereo spread of things. So let me just do this on the fly. We're just going to let it run, and I'm going to switch these guys. The good old 57. You hear how it gets nice and crunch, like the brightness comes out? Like the Royer ribbon mic is awesome, right? The 121, it's a great mic, but it's dark. It's a dark sounding microphone. One of the nice things about the 57 is it's very bright and great sounding. Okay, so now I'm going to take this microphone and move it to where I would put it on an amplifier, which is about here, between the cone and between the edge and the center of the cone. Somewhere around here is where I typically go. Okay, now let's also change the EQ just a tiny bit, just so they're not exactly the same. I'm going to drag a little of those mids out and bring up the presence. Okay, so I think that's starting to sound pretty good. Let's take a look at the compressor. Let's see what we're doing. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go to guitars. I'm going to go to guitar heavy. Check this out. Listen to how much I love this preset. There's a bunch of gain increase there, so let's bring that. Yeah, that's a great preset. So let's go back in and do that on the other one, and we're going to dial it just a slight different way. So let's go back to guitars. Guitar electric, guitar heavy. There we go. And I'm just going to change this threshold a couple of dB. I'm just going to close it down a tiny bit more. Okay, there. So now let's listen to these guitars in the whole mix.
Come here, baby. You know how you're always.
Okay, right there. So I think the guitars, just need a little bit more power and stuff. So one of the things, you guys, this might be a long video. I know you like it, so here we go. I'm going to do my best in editing. This is going to be a tough one, I know. All right, so I'm going to mute every single thing here, and we're going to start opening these up one by one and just going through it. So here are the drums. We're going to dial this down to, everybody guess, -5, okay? -5 is where we're starting. Okay. And now we have a bass. So let's try to balance the bass guitar and the drums a little bit. So I'm specifically focusing, like I'm listening to the kick drum when I'm trying to hear that balance between bass and drums. All right, so let's take a look at this because, okay. So the fuzz is not crazy but it's squeezing too much. I'm gonna turn this compressor off. Let's listen to this. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's look for another preset. Let's look for, let's just say electric bass EQ. Listen to that for a second. All right, so I'm going to bring this high pass down to 50. This signal seems a little bit thuddy and a little bit fat. I'm going to obviously do the classic 60 hertz bump here. This is good. Bumping up 60 hertz for kick drums or for bass, really, that's a good spot. It doesn't have to be 60 exactly. You know, you can go back and forth and try to find the spot, but 60 is a good place to start. In fact, I'm bringing it down to 57. Okay. All right. So good. I just feel like that part is missing some oomph. You know what I mean? It needs a little bit of oomph. Maybe I'm gonna bring this drive back. Let's actually go back to the clean. Oh, it's Razor bass. Okay. So now I just went back to the straight up preset of Razor bass. This is one of the things I have talked about a bunch in my other videos. When it comes to bass signals, and bass tones especially, I do not really mess with the presets very, very much. I know that I can trust them. You know, I will make little tweaks just to make it fit just as I want, but right now I go back to the original Razor bass setting, and it sounds perfect. Yeah, I'll personally, again, this is very subjective. I'm gonna like that a lot better than this sound. Right? Okay, so I'm going to say that it needs some low end, sure. So I'm going to I just turned it up here in the bass amp section. Okay, so let's try to bring in some guitars now. Let me set this a little bit. Okay, so let's get a little bit creative with this intro, boys. Let's just arrange this a tiny bit, you know? It's a bit of the intro is long. I'm not going to say it's too long, but it's a long intro before, you know, the actual verse starts. So let's maybe build this a little bit. Okay, and this is just me being creative with your song. I hope you don't mind, guys. I'm going to get rid of that intro. I'm going to get rid of this second guitar and bring it in somewhere else. Let's listen to this. Like right there would be cool, I think. Let's bring that in right there. really wish that boo-doo note, the first note, the whatever that note is, I sort of wish it wasn't there. I just wish it was bum, ba-dum, right? So let's hear that. All right, so we got to get it back. I like the ba-dum, but it just, in the intro, no. Okay, so let's look at these vocals and hear where they are coming in. Okay. Oh, they're automated. Okay. You guys are just watching me work. I hope you're in full screen on your Mac so you can just see what I'm doing. All right, so let's turn that automation off. Let's turn these down. Okay, now let's quickly look at these signals. Ron, we're going to talk to you for a second here. Let's look at this. Ron, square wave, buddy. Look at this right here, square wave. Okay, not a big deal. It didn't distort. It doesn't sound bad. Just be aware. You just went over. You know, like I had said earlier, 75% is going to be basically your ceiling that you're aiming for. So, you know, no big deal. This might have required you to back off the microphone a little bit or simply turn it down. Not a huge deal. Just thought I'd mention it, okay? It's a little bit loud. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to not make these totally symmetrical. So that's negative 15. This is plus 15. Let's make that like more, let's push it out to 25. Okay, I'm thinking this second guitar sounds a little bit too thick. So I'm going to go in and turn down the bass more and maybe move this a tiny bit closer to the center. Oh wow, the compression is completely off. Oh. Okay, guys, let's bring up your compressor. This thing is sitting at 0. So when you just turn this simple amount knob, it's going to close down the threshold and increase the output gain of the compressor. So just be aware of that. It's not terrible. I wish it didn't control the output gain, but it does. Right there, so right around here. Do you hear how much that snare comes out? I'm just going to turn it on and off. Here comes the compressor. Yeah, it adds a little bit of body, and yeah. What drum kit are we using? The Portland kit. All right, let's look at the EQ here. Oh, there's no EQ. Same thing, I'm bumping up at 60 hertz on the kick. I want to bring out the snare a little more. So it looks like there's a lot of snare in the 200 area, which is totally normal. This is, if you're ever curious, like 200 hertz in that neighborhood. That's where the beef of a snare drum will be. So I'm going to add just a touch there. I don't know. I'm going to make an executive decision. I'm just going to change this drum kit. The Portland kit, I like it, but the kick is not really there. You know, this is a rock song. Like I really feel like I want to hear that that attack of the beater on the kick drum, right? So let's just try the heavy kit. Let's just try this, see what it sounds like. Let's go back to the top. It's not terrible. Let's listen to retro rock. I don't know. Scientific method? Hell no. Not that. That's not bad. Ugh, awful. Okay, let's stick with East Bay, okay? So we're going to turn that compressor back up about there. So where are those vocal tracks? There we are. Okay. There's a lot to do here, and I'm going to try to do it really fast. So, okay, so one thing I'm going to just investigate a little bit here. Let's listen to all of these bass parts, and wow, there's so many different individual tracks. So let's listen. Are these all the same tones? Okay, so yeah, there seems to be a, it's all the same exact tone, it sounds like to me. So we got to clean these up, you guys. So we are just going to do some house cleaning here and reduce this down to one track. It's going to make life so much easier for me, and so that's good. So let's see, where was this one? Right around there. Okay, so we need to cut that. Doing this. Actually, let's do it the other way. Cut. Split, whatever. I know you guys get mad when I say cut. I'm splitting those tracks and I'm dumping them all into here. And the nice thing is, like, the way you guys played it, whoever played the bass, Brian perhaps, you did a good job. Like, they're starting and stopping in like nice even places. So it's really easy to just reduce this all down to one channel. And again, in the mixing stage, this is just, you know, it's going to make your life so much easier. You don't have to dial it in all these different places, or, you know, it's going to reduce the workload for your computer. I'm just yakking as I work here. So let's get this one. Control T, split, boom. Boom, cut, and what's going on here? Let's listen to this. Okay. Not exactly sure what's going on here. So let's expand this and bring it up a little bit and just to check that there's no crossover there. There is a tiny bit. So we're going to bring that back. Let's see if we can make this work with a bit of automation, since that is going to be a part where it drops, right? So let's just do this just for now, just so we have it. And that's probably a little dramatic, but we're going to make a curve on it. That's not good. There we go. Okay, this is, again, this is me just like totally arranging your song and the guitar part. That right there, I think possibly, in my opinion, just starting with the bum ba-da ba-da-da-da, just a little bit cleaner, right? In rock and roll terms, we would call that tight and right. So let's close down this automation. Let us actually, let's open that back up, and maybe we will automate that out with a one. Well, no, let's actually cut that out right there. Okay, sorry guys. I know this is a lot to watch, but it is what it is. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we are definitely going to do that here, and we're definitely going to drop that down because it is, a fade is needed there. I really hope I can do this within a reasonable amount of time and I don't fill up my hard drive. Just making the video. Oh wait, there's this little drum thing here, which I don't know why is on a different track. Let's move that. Oh wait, what? Copy that. Paste here, please. We're gonna get rid of that. Okay, good. This break is a little long. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you hear what I'm saying about that first note in that section. I think it's, personally, I think it's a little better without it. Just seems a little cleaner. You know, it feels like rock. 1. Let's turn up that bass so we can actually hear the stinking thing, huh? Are you all sitting there going, I don't hear the bass. When's he going to turn up the bass? I'm going to do it right now. I got to crank this guy and that guy. Let's see. Did I put that in the wrong spot or something? Did anybody see what I did? Huh, that's weird. Sounds like that bass is not in the right place now. Because it's not in the right place. I would assume it should be here. Okay, good. My mistake. Sorry, guys. All right. Wait, what? Something else is muted or soloed rather? This. Okay. Okay. Do you hear how much cleaner already this sounds? Okay. This, I believe, was an extraneous thing. We are going to dump that to ease up the CPU. We don't need another drummer there. Okay, now let's get rid of all these bass tracks that we do no longer need. And there's this break thing. Let's actually duplicate this and bring this up in there. Just, it does look like it bleeds over a little tiny bit. Okay, so actually I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, which is messing with the drums too early. Because inevitably I'm going to turn these drums up, but I like to work around that -5 figure because I know that I'm going to be turning them up, okay? But I try to make it sound good at -5. All right, so there was also a couple other things because there's so much here to unpack. All these guitar tracks, you guys, again, I personally just recommend reducing these things down. So like everything that's down here and currently muted, let's unmute it. But that is a ton of guitar tracks. I don't know. Do you really feel like you need them all? Like, what we were just listening to was just 2 of those guitars.
Come here, baby.
Let's turn off these vocals for a second, because we will address those at some point. That's the talking. Oh, yeah, what is this? Okay. Those are higher guitars. I like that. Can we make this drummer hit a little bit? Oh, wow. He is hitting kind of hard. Maybe I'll make him hit. I'm promoting the less is more thing right now. Sorry, you guys are just watching me think and listen. So where are the vocals coming in? Where's the lead vocals? Wow, this intro is super long.
Yep.
So wow. Okay, that intro seems long, but whatever. It's up to you. That's your decision. I just think it's a little long. For my taste, I feel like it's a little tiny bit long. I might sound like a total jerk right now, but sorry. Sorry, you guys.
Evil tricks of yours. Well, I'm about...
Voice. Let's give this the was it telephone vocal? And let's dial it left. Okay, vocals. I'm going to hammer these hard left and right. These back up.
Come here, baby.
Okay, let's go in and take a look at these vocal sounds. And how long is my video? Oh my gosh, we're at 35 minutes. Whew. Okay, I'm going to quickly do the vocals and then talk a little bit about arrangement stuff because this video is way too long and it's going to take forever to edit and upload. So,
you know how you're always trying to drive me crazy with those evil tricks of yours. Well, I'm about to get some evil tricks of my own.
all right, so here's what I see in this EQ. You're shelving out the low end. Okay, fine. But you're bumping up at 100. There doesn't seem to be a bunch of recorded information in the 100 hertz range.
Come here, baby. You know how you're always trying to drive me.
There's zero information there. So I don't really understand why that is being done. So we can just remove it. And let's solo that. Why don't we just preset this? Let's look for a vocal. Male Vox 1. Let's listen to this. A little nicer right there, right? It's got a little bit of brightness to it. It's going to open it up a little bit. And okay, fine. So let's do that here as well. We're going to open up that same EQ. What are you trying to... let's look to see what you're trying to... I'm unclear on what it is exactly that you're trying to notch out. Right? If we're here, we're listening to this one. Personally, don't really hear a difference with that EQ on and off. So let's make it do something. Let's make this EQ work. Male Vox 2 now, right? Oh boy, no, that was 1, I believe. Yes, it was supposed to be 1. Okay. Okay, and we're just going to bring these down a touch because it's a little on the bright side. Okay, now let's listen to this intro.
Come here, baby. You know how you're always trying to drive me.
I like these higher guitar parts, Brian, so let's listen to those. Probably right there. I'd like to hear those come in. Again, recorded low, but not bad. We can live with that. Get rid of that.
Come here, baby.
Let's do one thing to the drums here. Let's split them there, and let's just hi-hat and snare. Sorry, kick and snare.
Come here, baby. You know how you're always trying to drive me crazy with those evil tricks of yours.
Hey, you guys. I just noticed this now, so it's obviously not like terrible, but because I'm just noticing it now, that drum beat doesn't really match. Listen to the kick drum part and the bass. Boom, 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 boom.
Come here, baby. You know how you always try.
Let's see if we can get the drummer to do that by following it. Okay. I know this is long. Sorry. Whoa, what the hell was that?
Come here, baby. You know how you always trying to drive.
Okay, so let's clean that up because it seems a little funky. We gotta get rid of that beat. That's a weird little flutter in the kick. Let's just. Oh, I had it. Nope. That.
Come here, baby. You know how you always trying to drive me crazy with those evil tricks of yours. Well, I'm about to get some evil tricks of my own.
Oh, it would be right there where those other guitars would come in. Let's do that there, because that... Brian, I really like these parts, by the way. They're nice. I think there's too many of them, but I think they sound nice.
Come here, baby.
Hey, guys. This is the next day. That video you guys were watching went on for like another 45 minutes, and I think I have left in the bulk of the most important things that I said. After that, it just sort of became a mission of figuring out what the guitar parts were doing, dealing with the lower gained guitar parts. I struggled with the bass. I struggled with the drums. It turned into like a big deal. So even after I ended up finishing that original video, I sat here for another 3 or so hours and actually finished mixing the song into something that I think is pretty cool. So at this point, I'm going to push play on what we're calling the final mix. And, I'll stop at some point, but just so you know, this is what it sounds like now after I've gone through a final mix. And then I'm going to come back after we have listened to it a little bit, and we're going to talk about what I ended up doing. All right? So have fun listening. Here we go.
Come here, baby. You know how you're always trying to drive me crazy with those evil tricks of yours? Well, I'm about to get some evil tricks of my own. She drank
So there you go. That is the whole thing. I think in the end, I'm really happy with how it came out, and I did send it to them last night, and they both seemed very happy with it too. So let's discuss in general what I did. Okay. So I think when that was playing, you should have noticed how many things I removed. Okay. Like I said in the video yesterday, less is more, especially with guitar tracks. If you're trying to get like really epically sounding guitar tracks, you got to go for less. And just so you can hear them, if there's so many things that are competing, it's super hard for just the human ear to hear all the little layers. So just keeping it like simple driving rock. Like imagine like it's just four guys in a band in a studio working, don't want to overdo it. Not a lot of bands have that many guitar players. You know what I mean? Thankfully, geez, can you imagine? That tour bus would smell awful. So, I organized and I reduced and I did all that kind of work with the guitar parts. So, tone-wise, a lot of EQing was going on, like in these parts here, for example. I spent a lot of time like really trying to dial each tone in, understanding that the one that's on the left is going to not be EQ'd the same as the one on the right. That kind of stuff was really important to get the spread right. As far as arrangement stuff, I think a couple things that are worth mentioning are like this section in the verse, right? So you have the lead vocal going right here. We have one single guitar part going, and we have, of course, the bass and the drums, right? But what you should see and notice is these guys and these guys, okay? I'm just going to push play, and keeping in mind that these are guitar parts that are both panned hard left and right, and they are doubled guitar tracks, right? Played twice, not copied and pasted. So you have one guitar track going in the middle, and then at these two strategic moments, you have the other guitars going out hard left and right. Just listen for that.
Nothing to lose, I wanna crash land on you. She drank the potion when it hit her lips. Black blood dripping from her fingertips. She's a femme fatale, I got nothing but my skin to lose. I know.
Right? It's just one of these like little arrangement things from a production standpoint that just makes, there's just some little gems throughout that verse, where there are these spaces where there are no vocals happening. So you do have some room to play with. I think when vocals are happening, you really don't want to interfere too much with the vocal, right? We want people to listen to the words. We want people to focus on the vocals when they're happening. But in the moments that they're not, maybe it's a cool thing to do something like this. So just an arrangement and production thing I wanted to mention. Now, of course, I did personally, I just ended up getting rid of the distorted bass track. Went for the standard old, my personal favorite, modern stack. Just the bass playing so good. And I felt like the distortion was just sort of taking away from it. Plus the fact that everything else, like all the guitars and stuff, are heavily distorted. So it's like, I kind of just wanted to hear some clean bass tone. So that's why I did it. Sometimes, I've definitely recorded songs where it's a lot of distorted guitars and a distorted bass, but I might only be doing two guitar parts in a song like that, right? Distorted bass can get lost in a big mix with a lot of other distorted instruments. So sometimes I think it's nice to go with a clean sound. It was a lot of more of, cleaning that up, arranging that. The vocals, let's talk about the vocals really quickly. A lot of EQing, as you can see here, I wanted there to be some more body in that. Another thing that I did was I pulled like the choruses from the, it was just one vocal track, but there's moments where I wanted to hear two vocals actually happening. So what I did was go grab the second chorus, bring it back, and put it under the first one. So I get like a double vocal.
I know you are never going to be like me.
Here it's a single vocal.
Sometimes wonder if I am myself.
Now, it had to be a second vocal because the other chorus did not have the same lyrics. So when I cut it out, I was like, actually, it's totally fine with that being all by itself, because then you come back to the double vocal again.
I see the love inside you. You can be like me.
Right? So you just get that, like, it's a little bit, it just gives a nice lift to the chorus in the vocal area. One thing that I love to do, and I will just point it out here, is that I used the chorus on the vocals, and it's the mega wide chorus. I love this on putting this on a doubled vocal, because it gives you a nice, you don't really hear the chorus effect. It just sort of sends out some vocals into the left and right. That's the way I perceive it in my ears, at least. I don't like really hear this swirly chorus effect. I hear it just being spread out. I just repeated myself totally. So that's about it. In an effort to, not make the second half of this video another hour long, that is it. I went for less is more. I really paid attention to each individual channel, making sure that every guitar track was a little bit different, and because it has to be, arranging it from when there's one guitar to two guitars to three guitar parts. I will say I did actually end up playing some guitar parts just because there was like high octave notes that I had heard, like I could hear them in my head, and I was like, I really want them to be there. So I did it. And then like this little piece right here, these guys, I had to do those because they didn't exist in the recording. So, and I wanted them to be there. So I was like, it's obviously, this is not hard for me to play. Right? That's pretty basic guitar. Right? So basically that's what I ended up doing. I mastered it for them, and I think it sounds like a good, like an awesome pop rock, like 80s classic. I love that stuff, and I write lots of it, and I thoroughly enjoyed working on this song for and with you guys. Ron and Brian, thank you so much for sending it in. I really appreciate it. And I always appreciate when you guys put my stuff on the Facebook page over there and watch it. I enjoy watching you guys enjoy this music and the comments that everybody over there on the Garageband users Facebook page comment. It's just a good community. So you guys, from Garageband and Beyond, if you have not gone over there and checked it out, I'm personally very active on that page. I answer questions all the time. It's a good place. So Garageband users on Facebook. And otherwise, I think that's about it. As always, please subscribe to my channel. I just hit 90,000 subscribers. That's super exciting. So I'm actually getting close to getting 100,000. So I'm happy about that. And the more we can do to help me do that would be great. Anyway, you guys, thank you again for sending in this song. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. And if you are curious about having me mix songs for you, there's a website, garagebandandbeyond.com. There's a mixing inquiries page there. And that's all I need to say. Okay, peace, love, have a great day.
I know you are